What's up guys, HMK here once again, and you knew that this video was coming. So, with the release of Elden Ring, the Ring of Elders, the Elden Ringers against the world or whatever, I decided to give this game a shot. I haven't played a Soulsborne game in a long time, and can I tell you right now that this game is bonkers. I cannot stop playing this game. I've been playing this game a lot on my own and with my friends on Discord, and it's really interesting to see each of our journeys as we take to the world, which direction we want to go to, the secrets that we find together. I was able to find a secret on my own that was able to surprise my friends who have 80 hours in, and I have about 30 hours in, and I don't see myself stopping playing this game anytime soon. If you want to see me streaming, check it out over my Twitch or whatever. But when it comes to Elden Ring and it comes to the internet and whatnot, of course, I have sentiments that have it compared to that of another one of my all-time favorite games, Breath of the Wild. And while a lot of people do share my sentiments on the internet, there's a lot of people that believe that it's unfair, or you shouldn't even compare Elden Ring with Breath of the Wild, them being two different games, which is true to a fault, but I believe that it is a fair comparison to compare Breath of the Wild to Elden Ring, because the energy of this game is trying to mimic each other. It's like they're trying to achieve the same goal in enjoyment when it comes to Elden Ring. Now, before I get into anything else as a primer, the Souls game, when it comes to Dark Souls 1 or even From Software's, previous entries in their catalog of games that they've been making for a while now, you can see right away that these games have been based and have been inspired by 3D Zelda. I mean, Miyazaki has even said in interviews that correlate with this thought, okay? But Breath of the Wild is a breath of fresh air when it comes to the overall Zelda series. And Elden Ring does a bit of the same thing in terms of Breath of the Wild bringing Zelda to an open-ended, open-world aspect, and an Elden Ring taking the Souls formula to an open-world, open-ended aspect. So I feel that it's very, legitimate in order to compare these two titles. Of course, there's massive differences between the two games when it comes to, the deeper aspects of the combat, the lore, and how the story is addressed within these games. Elden Ring does have a level up system, just like the Souls game, and you can truly make your character your own in terms of customization and in playstyle. For me personally, I'm running a bit of a spellblader type deal. I'm throwing a lot of things into intelligence and dexterity, and my vigor is not that high, but it's cool because I'm nimble, I'm quick, and I like dual wielding two fencing weapons, dual rapiers, and I like to use, magic imbuements when it comes to the Ashes of War, or if, there's an enemy that has magic resist, I decide to go to Keen because I have that dexterity stat. But I digress. This game is so good. Oh, if you guys haven't played Elden Ring, please play this game. It's so good, especially if you like Breath of the Wild. Play this game, right? And the core aspect of Elden Ring that has me loving this game and comparing it to that of Breath of the Wild, and not like in a sense that, oh, which game is better. Not like that. You can compare things and not in a way that, doesn't say like, oh, one's better than the other. I'm comparing it to I'm getting the same vibes, the same energy. I'm getting the same sense of enjoyment in Elden Ring like I got with Breath of the Wild. And I play a lot of open world games, a lot of open air games, and I'm telling you right now, I have not felt this way with an open world game since playing Breath of the Wild, or before Breath of the Wild, that I had with Elden Ring. I'm getting that same energy, that same vibe, that same, I need to work, but but Elden Ring, Elden Ring, and I get lost in the sauce. There is so many times when this game came out where I'm playing, and I'm like, wow, 7 hours have passed. I didn't stream, I should have got work done. And that's the power of Elden Ring, and that's the power of Breath of the Wild. Especially when you're getting thrust into a world that you have no idea where to go, but it's fun. You can go anywhere. Unlike that of previous Souls games, which is something that I feel is a really beautiful aspect within that of Elden Ring. In previous Souls games, like when I played Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3, that, it was a path. I wouldn't say it's fully linear, but of course there's a path you must take when it comes to the previous Souls games and whatnot. And then when you run into a bit of a roadblock, depending on your build, a lot of people decide to reset their specs either from the beginning or using items to reset their specs or whatever. And people still do that in Elden Ring. Yo, more power to you if you want to do something like that. But you don't have to. You know why? Because if you ever reach a type of roadblock or something that like, you know what, I'm not feeling that boss or I'm not feeling that area, guess what? You can go in another direction. You can go somewhere else. You can explore this world to the beat of your own drum. That's something that Breath of the Wild truly had instilled in me, in the joy of playing that game. I'm like, oh, listen, I can go to the Gerudo Desert, but I mean, like, okay, I'm not dealing with the heat right now, and then the sand, I don't have the sand boots, or whatever, I can't even take Epona out there. So you know what? Let's go to the Lenari region. Let's go pay the Zoras a visit. Elden Ring, you get that same vibe, although it's a lot darker and a lot more harder and a lot more scarier, creepier, and all that good jazz or whatnot. And it's that true freedom of exploration and enjoyment that I feel that is valid to compare Elden Ring to Breath of the Wild. And man, oh man, but of course they take different steps in terms of the exploration, because of course Breath of the Wild is an open air adventure. Elden Ring does have verticality, but you cannot explore in the same sense or direction that you can with Breath of the Wild, and a lot of people believe that's a reason why you shouldn't compare the two or whatnot. And I feel that Elden Ring does a very beautiful way of addressing a similar aspect from Breath of the Wild, and that is tackling each situation, a boss, your own way. There's no right way to do that, and I love games that do that. Breath of the Wild, Metal Gear Solid 5, but in Elden Ring there is a balance between that of approaching a situation any way you can, but at the same time, this game, it doesn't force you, but it definitely pushes you and rewards you to find a way to a certain area on your own through exploration, right? Breath of the Wild does that, but at the same time, they're like, oh no, you can explore any way you can. As long as you have stamina, you can climb this wall, vault over, and then tackle these Azathlos that are not suspecting of your, movement or whatever. But then when Elden Ring, you're trying to get to this area, and I'm like, okay, I can't get here, and I can't really climb, and I can't really glide or anything. How do I get there? You get pushed to explore to see if you can find a hidden mine or a hidden dungeon or catacombs or whatnot that could possibly give you an item or a direction or a secret way to get to a certain area if you want to try and find a new church in order to get those items or whatever. And it just pushes you to do that. And then let me not even talk about the fact that Elden Ring's map is massive. That was so big, right? And the fact that you can go into the underground area in Elden Ring, and that's just another map. And I'm like, yo, my boy Game Boy lad Henry, we share the same sentiment. I'm like, yo, this game just keeps getting bigger and bigger. This is $60? Like what? Like From Software, you know the sauce. Oh man, this is a great game. This is such a good game. And there's always more and more to explore. A new spell to get, a new Ash of War to get. And the one thing that gets me mad about Elden Ring, but it's not really like, it's not a bad thing about Elden Ring, it's just a personal thing. I'm like, okay, I'm a spell blader, I want to use spells and whatnot. And I should have saw this coming when playing previous Souls games. I'm like, oh, you want to use fire magic? You want to use lightning magic? Oh, you better start believing in God, because if you don't got that faith, can't use those things. And I'm like, great, all this intelligence wasted. I mean, I still have my glintstone and my Cavian spells, and of course I have the gravity spells and the frost spells that dip into intelligence or whatever. But sometimes I just want to call down a lightning bolt of judgment, but I can't, because I don't have enough faith to judge others, because I don't believe in the Elden Ring or in the fingers or in the man or whatever. But case in point, when it comes to the comparative aspects of Breath of the Wild and Elden Ring, I feel that it's good to compare the two in order to see what these two titles have done for the next step, the next leap in evolution of open world design and how these games tackle an action game in an open world setting, right? And another quote from my boy Henry that I feel like is really good is that, yo, he said, when I play Elden Ring, this is what I expected Skyrim to be when everyone was gassing it up back in 2011. And I'm like, wow, that's so true. Now, in the case, obviously we're gonna get to the point where we're talking about Breath of the Wild 2, which is slated for this year. Now, a lot of people get twisted in my sentiment when it comes to comparing Elden Ring and Breath of the Wild, that Breath of the Wild 2 needs to be better than Elden Ring, or needs to do all these things that Elden Ring is doing. No. Elden Ring truly grasped its own identity for taking the Souls games into an open world action environment, same way as Breath of the Wild took Zelda into that new realm. Breath of the Wild 2, if it were to incorporate aspects of Elden Ring too much, it would lose that original identity. That's not what I want. I don't want Breath of the Wild, I don't want Breath of the Elden Ring 2. I want Breath of the Wild 2 to take that next big leap in terms of molding its identity to new heights in terms of gameplay, how they tackle the overworld, the underworld, all that good jazz, and how these new gameplay aspects can truly affect a world that we're really familiar with. All right, and but one thing I would like Breath of the Wild 2 to emulate from Elden Ring is that, yo, that that underground area, like, that's so beautiful. It's so awesome, so massive. And the amount of bosses and secrets and enemy variety and stuff, it's just crazy. All right, it's crazy. I still play Breath of the Wild. I still play Elden Ring. I think they're both amazing games, and I think it's completely fair to compare the two in terms of how they tackle open world design in an action adventure game aspect. Now, of course, Elden Ring is action adventure RPG, and I would love to see some RPGs like segments within that of Breath of the Wild 2, but nothing in the sense of Elden Ring, because that's its own spiel with From Software games. And can I say this right now? Like, that game is so good. Tell me about your builds, what you're doing if you're playing Elden Ring, and if you haven't, please play this game. Please play this game. All right, this game is great, and shields are for pushovers. Know when to dodge. That's the sauce right there. Thanks for watching this video. I just had to get my thoughts out there on the whole idea of comparing these two games, and I feel that it's completely fair to do so in terms of how they tackle the action adventure segment genre within an open world area. And man, oh man, I gotta, now if you'll excuse me, I need to go start playing some more Elden Ring for the PlayStation 5. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to HMK for more Zelda videos, more competitive videos, and maybe more Elden Ring videos if you're down for that. Until the next video, this has been HMK, and I'll check you guys later.